So today's problem is a 2007 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD 6.6 Duramax LMM, which I'm sure stands for a lot more money, and it interestingly won't start unless the aftermarket tuner is plugged in to the DLC. It won't crank. When I attempt to scan it with the scan tool, I got no communication with any controller on the high-speed or low-speed data bus. And looking at the network on this thing, I've got no communication. So I'm looking at pin 6 and 14 on the network here, and I'm going to pull a scope up here. And I've got this OBD breakout box here. I got channel 1 on the CAN H, channel 2 on the CAN L, pin 14, which is CAN low. And if I turn the key on, this is what the network communication looks like. It's pretty dirty, although it's better now than it was before. The two signals should be about 2.5 volts, with the CAN H signal going up about a volt and the CAN L signal going down a volt. Let's pause it here and answer the phone. So here I've got the CAN bus signal paused, and the CAN H signal is sitting at roughly 3.5 volts, and the CAN L signal sitting at 2.5 volts. So it's actually high by about 1 volt on the CAN H signal. I've looked at the terminating resistor at the back of the truck by where the spare tire would typically be, and it looks okay. It's just a resistor hanging in there. I took it down and looked at it, and it's not corroded. But there's obviously some kind of network issue with this thing. One of the modules on the network is causing an issue. I'm going to measure the termination resistance here at the pin 6 and 14. But when this truck does run, it has a noise in it. It sounds like it's got a compression problem. So I might just do a relative compression test before we get carried away with these network issues. I mean, it would be really nice if I can communicate with the ECM and do some tests where I could kill cylinders one at a time to identify which cylinder it is, but I think it's got a mechanical problem in the engine, so I might just do a relative compression test before we get carried away here. So I'm set up to do a relative compression test. I got an amp clamp over the positive battery cable going to the starter, and I've got the graphing multimeter set up at 500 millivolts and 1 second. I got a relay switch installed in place of the starter relay and a booster battery on it so that I've got batteries. We're going to crank this thing. Pay attention to the way it sounds while it's cranking. So let me pause that. Where'd it go? Okay, so there is this spike here that occurs. I would have expected it to go down, but you can see there is an anomaly here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here and here, for some reason we got an increase in current flow when that piston's coming up on compression. So there is some kind of mechanical issue, maybe a broken exhaust valve spring. It has a pop in the intake when it's running. Kind of sounds like it's got a exhaust valve that's not opening, maybe. I'm not sure, but I think there is a serious mechanical issue with this engine, not an injector problem. But the only way we're going to know for sure is to fix the network problem so that we can scan it further. I'm going to have to talk to the customer and see if he wants to continue. So here's a portion of the high-speed CAN network from pin 6 and 14 at the data link connector. It goes to the junction IP connector, and then from there over to body control module. Body control module is a gateway through the body VCM to the transmission controller, through the transmission controller to the ECM, and the ECM has a termination resistor in it. The other half of the network goes through connector X3 in the IP fuse block goes to the vehicle communication interface module, which is OnStar, and then off to the EBCM and trailer brake controller on the next page here. So I've got the batteries disconnected right now so that the network is dead for sure. And I got an ohm meter across pin 6 and 14 of this data link connector, and the scan tool disconnected, and it should show 60 ohms and it shows 120 ohms, which tells me that I have an open somewhere in the network. Now it can't be the ECM because it does run, so I suspect the open is somewhere in the anti-lock brake controller circuit or the OnStar controller, but chances are it's down below the truck. So I'm going to try and find this X3 connector, which I've got a picture of. It's on the bottom of this junction block, so that's the connector there. I'm going to try and find that, and of course if we can identify the pins in that connector, we should be able to measure the other half of the terminating resistance in that circuit. There it is there, 2500 and 2501, pins 7 and 5 in this connector here. Pins 7 and 5. So we'll find that connector and measure its resistance there. So this junction block is down on the floor under the driver's side of the dash. It's behind this plastic cover here that I've taken off. I've got connector X3 disconnected from the back of this. It plugs in right here. This is the connector. So I've actually taken out this half of the network, and I still have 120 ohms resistance. So as I suspected, the open's in this end of the network, and I wonder if I try to communicate now with all of those computers removed, I should be able to communicate with the BCM, ECM, and so on. See what the scan tool does now. Well, the interesting thing is now with the back half of the network removed, it looks nice and clean, and we're going to see if we can scan it now. So we're going to try and read some data from the engine control computer now. It's automatic transmission, codes menu, display codes, DTC display. Sorry for the compressor. Oh, we got communication with the EBCM, or communication with the ECM, and loss of communication with BCM, glow plugs, transmission controller, and so on. Wow. So it's interesting that the vehicle would crank and start with that aftermarket tuner and plugged in. That must have stabilized the voltage on the network enough to make it communicate, or allow it to communicate with the BCM, because with no communication with the BCM, it won't crank. So let's see, we got data, engine data. Good, so we got a data list now. Exit, exit, exit. Let's do a code scan and see what comes up. That doesn't explain why we had no communication with anything on the low speed network, but that's a secondary issue. Primary concern is the miss in the engine and the noise in the engine. Now that we got communication with the engine controller, we should be able to do some diagnostics on that. Number 5, glow plug, ignition relay feedback circuit. All kinds of wonderful stuff. Well, we're not going to spend too much time looking at fault codes here. We're going to see if we can run this thing and isolate what cylinder has a miss. Well, it now starts and runs normally with the key. You can hear it running poorly. Let's see if we can kill injectors one at a time. Injector 1.
difference there, but not much. Injector 2. Louder when I kill number 3. Number 7 already? I've lost count. Tech 2 scanner's a lot faster at this. Boy, that makes little change at all. It's number 7 because the 7 hardly makes any difference. Let's look at the balance rates. Aren't all that bad. Number 6 is a little higher. 11113. Number 6 seems to be adding more fuel to number 6. I'm going to save this recording. Okay, so I'm going to try to use a Tech 2 scanner to kill individual injectors because it's a lot faster. So I'm on injector number 1 right now. Disable. 2. 3. Knock's pretty good when number 5 is disabled. That's number 7. Disable number 7 again. Hardly any change. Number 8. 1. 7, that seems to be the weakest, but the noise does not change significantly when I kill individual cylinders. So you can hear the way this thing sounds when it's running. It's not typical of an injector noise in my opinion. It sounds like an air induction noise. You can feel it right